Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a one-man show today at Lockdown Sports. Saj, minutes restriction. Jono, suspended until further notice. Saru, religious reasons. Excuses. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. Let's talk FPL captains. Now guys, it's a big game week, but I see Kevin De Bruyne. I see Manchester City against Burnley. I don't have to think too hard about this one. I know I'm a little bit down the leaderboard, guys, but please, believe me, Kevin De Bruyne, it's his time. All right, first game of the weekend, Liverpool versus Chelsea. Now, guys, this means a lot of things to a lot of people, but for me, this is a repeat of round one. It's a good opportunity for us to look back and reflect, because game week one, Liverpool, Cody Gakpo was playing in midfield. This is not the same Liverpool. This is a resilient, and I hate to say it, a good Liverpool team. Curtis Jones pretty much embodies all of that. Yes, there's a lot of chaos, and yes, the ball's going to be in both boxes anytime you watch a Liverpool game. But trust me, if there's one team in the world you'd be okay to let have chances, it's Chelsea Football Club, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea's second in terms of XG, fifth in terms of touches in the final third, but somehow they fall all the way down to eighth when you look at the number of goals they've scored this season. Now, how many times have we seen this? How many times have we seen a club, maybe like Brighton a couple years back under Potter, have all this flow for what? For nothing. You know, they give you a taste, but we want the full load. So what would you do with Chelsea? Because honestly, I watched the Fulham game last week. There's one change I'm making. Conor Gallagher, it's time to hold bench. It's time. I know you've had a good season. I get it. But if you're a team getting stuck around the final third, you have to ask questions of the number 10. You look at Cole Palmer, he can play in the middle. Madueke can play on the inside and outside off the right. He can attack the fullback. He'd be a great addition to this team. Ultimately, I want guys who can help this team stop from getting stuck in the final third. Guys that can turn with the ball, take a few touches, have some creative, decisive moments that change a game. And you look at the combination of maybe Sterling, Palmer, Madueke, it's not perfect, but it'll get the job done a whole lot better. And secondly, this is why Conor Gallagher's on the team. They think they need training wheels. Training wheels for Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. A couple of Rolls Royces. That's what they thought they bought, but they want training wheels. I need training wheels. I still don't know how to ride a bike. That's a me problem, not a Chelsea problem. This is a very good midfield that had a rusty start, but you have to take away the training wheels at some stage. We're more than halfway through the season now, fellas. It's time. Look, in terms of a prediction, Liverpool is on fire. Chelsea is woeful. You look at the history in the fixtures. It usually goes against a run of play with a nice 0-0, 1-1 draw. But Liverpool at home, at Anfield, this has to be a win. It has to be the nil. Chelsea during AFCON, Liverpool during AFCON. I know, I get it. But you saw what they did this week. Nunez, Diogo Jota, by any means necessary, they get the most shots in the Premier League. Yes, they might be lower quality, but they fire the shit out of the ball in the final third. Game number 2, Aston Villa and Newcastle. Both teams fighting out for top 4, which really means they're fighting out for the opportunity to be eliminated in either the group stage or the round of 16 of the Champions League next season. Because trust me, guys, me and you both know, they're not winning the Champions League ever, so what's the point? Now, I know that I might be coming across as a bit of a salty Man United fan. It's because I am. Now, let me just get straight into the predictions. Anytime you hear Aston Villa, Newcastle, the one prediction everyone's going to say is 2-2 draw, all action. And to be honest, look, good reason for that. Chaos in both boxes, that's what you're expecting, right? But I'm thinking 2-1 win for Aston Villa. You look at home court advantage, home field advantage, whatever you want to call it, it's really important for both of these teams. That's why in round 1, Newcastle got the job done, even though Aston Villa had so many chances. Aston Villa currently first. If you look at the home league tables, Newcastle's fourth. This game's being played, obviously, in Birmingham. Aston Villa have got to get the job done. Now, you talk about an all-action game. I've been thinking, guys, the referees, they think they're doing a little bit of the WWE stuff, When a game is all action, they take that into account every time they're thinking about yellow cards. Sometimes they let fouls go, and that inconsistency drives me nuts. That's why I'm going under on the cards here, fellas. Less than 5 yellow cards. Now, with Unai Emery, with Eddie Howe, you're seeing this lovely little new kids on the block narrative, with the PIF and Unai Emery. We need to remember, guys, Unai Emery, it's almost 2 years now. The PIF, they've been here for almost 3 years, been planning it for almost 4 years. So I would just like to give them a toast, not the full load, if I say so myself, not the full load, but just a taste of the criticism I get as a Manchester United fan. You look at little things. Let's focus on the fullbacks because, one day the fullbacks, they were the least important position, now they're the most, all right? Let's look at Newcastle, Trippier, let's look at Aston Villa, Matty Cash, couple situations that could play out very differently at a big club with a lot more scrutiny. I don't know who I'm talking about here, fellas. Matty Cash gets dropped. Kieran Trippier gets dropped. He's arguing with the fans. These little things, they're not so little at a big club. The other reason, I guess, it isn't as big of a story at Newcastle is because they've got Tino Livramento. So if Trippier wants to go to Bayern, if Trippier wants to leave, I think they'll be fine. Just a little bit on Livramento before we wrap up today. He's got the sexy name. He's a decent looking man. I have no issue saying that. He is the perfect two-way fullback. You see everyone in the league struggling right now with their fullback situations. Arsenal, you get wanting to ask more of the fullbacks. Liverpool looking to probably replace Robertson long run in the future. And just these little things at other clubs. I don't have to mention my club. We'd play Wan-Bissaka at left back, for God's sake. But Livramento, okay, you see him in the EFL Cup against City, against United, man of the match caliber performances. And then you see him in the Champions League. Yes, there was that dodgy handball, but you don't have to worry about that because he was on the pitch with AC Milan. He was on the pitch with Paris Saint-Germain, and he didn't look out of place. And for a young defender, the one thing I ask is that you don't look like a foreigner. I didn't mean it like that. Now, what can Livramento do? He can pass the ball forward very well. He can carry it on the dribble. He can create chances. He can do everything offensively. And then on the other end, interceptions, you don't have to worry about that with this kid. What matchup has he faced? And you've raised questions. Was it Rashford? Was it Garnacho? We don't even need to get into Antony. Anyone from the Man City wingers. And of course, he had Ousmane Dembele in the PSG matchup. So you look at these questions being asked on him, he's answering every step of the way, and that's why when Trippier leaves, this is the one thing that obviously surprised me when looking at the numbers. They're so dominant down Trippier's side, and Livramento doesn't actually get much of the ball. I think he's ready to get more of the ball and carry on the defensive responsibility, and I'm not a fan of this lopsided fullback shit. Take Dan Burn out of the lineup, have two guys going back and forth, box to box. Old school. So, yeah, there you have it. Stay locked in, fellas. Premier League video is going to look a little bit differently from now on. Just me. No room for Saj. No room for Jono. No room for Saru. No room for bullshit excuses. Stay tuned. Stay locked in. Subscribe for more.